Okay, good afternoon everybody. Thank you for attending this meeting of the licensing panel on Monday the 15th of December 2025. Before we start, I'd like to run through some housekeeping rules. There are no planned fire alarms, so if the alarm sounds, please leave via the emergency exits, which are either side of me. The toilets are outside to the left if anybody needs them. And can I please ask that all mobiles are either turned off or put on silent? Thank you. This meeting is being live streamed on YouTube, so I ask that all parties use the microphone when speaking, and I will now ask everybody to introduce themselves. I'll start with myself. I'm Councillor Gleeson and I'm chairing this meeting today.
Sorry. Chris Lomax, Wantley East.
Hello, Councillor Leslie Pritchard for Lostock Hall Ward.
I'm Chris Ward, Licensing Manager. I'll be presenting the report.
Peter Flynn.
Legal Advisor for the committee.
No, I don't speak.
Hi, sorry, it's Sushma Nai. I'm the Legal Advisor for the committee.
Coral Asprey, Democratic and Member Services Officer.
Thank you.
Jack Thornton, co-owner of Fairway Fusion Golf Club and one of the directors.
Timothy Duxbury, I'm one of the co-owners and a director.
Josh Jones, one of the co-owners and director and the personal licence holder.
Perfect, thank you. I will now outline the hearing procedure and it will be as follows. Our licensing manager will outline the application and any relevant representations. The applicants will then be invited to make their representations in support of their application. Questions to the applicant will be then permitted from the panel and all of the parties. There are no representatives from responsible authorities today. The objectors will then be invited to make their representations. Questions will be permitted to the objectors from the panel and the applicants. I will then ask the applicant, in the light of any representations, if they wish to amend or change their application in any way. The objectors will be invited to sum up. The applicant will then be invited to sum up, and the licence holder or applicant will be invited to give the opportunity to sum up. I will then ask the legal representative if there are any other matters to be raised or resolved before the hearing is closed, before deliberations. All parties and officers who are not directly supporting the committee will be excluded from the meeting, and it is at that point we will enter the deliberations. All parties will be issued with a detailed notice within 5 working days after this hearing. If you are not satisfied with the decision, you can appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days. Okay, thank you. I'll wait for Carl to come back. Okay, do we have any apologies?
No apologies, Chair.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest? No, nice and easy. A copy of the procedure to be followed has been included with the agenda pack for the information already outlined. So, premises licence review, Fairway Fusion. Can I please ask our licensing manager, Chris Ward, to briefly outline the application?
Thank you, Chair. Hearing today is to determine an application submitted under Section 17 of the Licensing Act 2003 for a new premises licence for Fairway Fusion 20 to 22 Chapel Brow, Leyland. So members are requested to determine this application under Section 18 of the Licensing Act and in line with Section 35.4 of the Council's Statement of Licensing Policy. The applicant has applied for a licence for the following licensable activities. So recorded music, indoors only, Sunday to Thursday, which is 2300 to midnight, Friday and Saturday, 2300 to 2 AM. Live music, Friday and Saturday, 2300 to 1 AM, and Sunday, 11 in the morning till midnight, 2300 till midnight. Supply of alcohol, on sales only, Sunday to Thursday, 9 in the morning until 23:30 at night, and Friday and Saturday again 9 in the morning, and that's until 1:30 in the morning. The premises opening hours proposed would be Sunday to Thursday 5 AM till midnight, and Friday to Saturday 5 AM till 2 AM. The proposed times compared to the alcohol times would give a 30-minute drink up time for dispersal from the premises. Where relevant representations for a new premises licence application are received concerning the undermining of the licensing objectives, the licensing authority will determine the application by a hearing. As such, we are here today. In line with the statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003, representations may only be relevant if they relate to undermining of at least one of the 4 licensing objectives and are not frivolous or vexatious. Section 20 of the report contains the relevant sections of statutory guidance which refers to the relevant representations. In particular, these sections of guidance are 9.3 to 9.6. I can confirm that no representations against the application were received from any of the responsible authorities, and conditions have been agreed between the applicant and the police, and these conditions can be found attached to the report as Supplementary Agenda 1. 6 relevant representations in line with the Licensing Act 2003 have been received. These are from members of the public. Members are reminded that only relevant representations can be accepted which must display an undermining of the licensing objectives and are not frivolous or vexatious. And this hearing today is to consider a licence being granted to perform licensable activity. Representations relating to planning, highways and non-licensing issues raised by objectors should not be taken into consideration. As such, that should be disregarded by members. And only representations that can evidence an undermining of the licensing objective should be accepted and taken into consideration when determining the application, and this is in line with the Licensing Act 2003. So in determining the application, a licensing authority must carry out its functions with a view to promoting the licensing objectives. In carrying out its functions, it must have regard to its own statement of licensing policy, this is under Section 5 of the Licensing Act, and any guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182. Section 18 of the Licensing Act 2003 steps out the steps which can be taken by the panel. These are to grant the licence subject to any timings or conditions of the licence. The conditions the licensing authority may consider appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. They can exclude any licensable activity. They can refuse to specify a person as the designated premises supervisor, or they can reject the application completely. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Chris. So we'll just go to any questions from the panel first. So does any members of the panel have any questions for Chris?
Thank you, Chair. Can I ask whether there's been any reports from the police of any concerns that they have regarding this application?
Thank you, Councillor. So we've had nothing reported through from the police. They have agreed conditions that they've withdrawn any objections and are happy for the application to go through as long as those conditions were agreed, which they were. Okay, thank you.
No.
Just one other question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. With regard to noise, are there any concerns at all? Have there been any reports in the area of noise problems, or is there any concerns about this application with regard to noise, please?
Without letting the objector speak first, I could say that Council's received nothing in the last 2 years through licensing or environmental health. We've checked the records and there's nothing been received. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Do the applicants have any questions for the officer? Okay, thank you. So can I now please invite the applicant to put forward any information in support of their application? I note that you've already submitted some agreed conditions with the police in advance, so we're aware of those. So if there's anything you want to put forward to us now?
Thank you. So Fairway Fusion Golf Club is a newly established high-tech indoor golf simulation venue at Chapel Brow. The facility features 5 state-of-the-art golf on simulators across the ground and first floors, and they're designed to replicate the operation of a traditional golf club while offering modern, weatherproof golfing facilities. The venue caters to both experienced players and newcomers, providing a safe, compliant and enjoyable space for recreation. It also supports local community engagement through events, training sessions and accessible membership options. Importantly, Fairway Fusion enables golfers to play year-round, offering a reliable and alternative to traditional courses when they're closed due to adverse weather. Beyond its core golf offering, the clubhouse provides additional sporting facilities such as darts and a small bar. It also serves as a welcoming social environment well suited to hosting community events including live music, comedy performances and private functions. These activities complement the sporting focus by fostering a vibrant membership community, ensuring that Fairway Fusion remains first and foremost a golf venue with hospitality designed to support and enrich its recreational purpose. We're committed to operating in full accordance with licensing requirements and with our local neighbours to ensure that the planned operation doesn't cause a disturbance. As mentioned, we've not received any objections from any of the responsible authorities. And I'd just like to have a quick run through the 4 licensing objectives and what we aim to do to actually support those licensing objectives. For prevention of crime and disorder, we've got an extensive CCTV system which features 15 high-quality image cameras covering both internal and external to the property. CCTV maintenance register, as per one of the requirements set by the police, it's to be monitored at least once a month, ensuring that it works and it functions correctly. We'll maintain an incident log which includes any violence or disorder immediately outside the premises, any incident involving controlled drugs on the premises, any other crime or criminal activity, any call for police assistance, and then any first aid or other care given to a customer. Provide an authorised sales log, so written record of all persons authorised to sell alcohol by the DPS, Josh. Staff training records, refresher training provided every 12 months, and written records to maintain this and keep for 12 months, including permission to sale for the sale of alcohol, age verification policy, conflict management, and then protecting vulnerable persons. We've also signed up to the Pub Watch scheme, and we're still waiting to hear back about that, but we will be a member of that before we actually open. Public safety then, so fire safety, compliant with the Fire Safety Order Act 2005, completed fire risk assessments ahead of opening, and liaison with Lancashire Fire and Rescue during our current renovation period. First aid, the majority of staff are all emergency first aid at work trained, coupled with additional first aid knowledge from military service. Door supervision, as required by the police. I won't go into the details of that, but effectively, if we're opening past midnight, we will have 1 door supervisor on as a minimum from 10 p.m. at night. We also feature an online booking system, which allows us to anticipate how busy we'll be, so we can minimise crowding concerns and allows us to plan effectively for the venue. Prevention of public nuisance. So currently, Rimmers Music School operates on the 2nd floor. They still operate on the 2nd floor and operate electronic and acoustic instruments till 10 p.m. at night. They've never had any complaints after speaking to the teachers about the sound levels that you can hear outside from those instruments. We've no plan for external speakers, everything's internal. Protection from children from harm. We'll be operating the Challenge 25 policy, and we'll maintain a refusal register as well to make sure that any refusals are recorded for the use by the police if required. Under 18 admittance, no one under the age of 18 shall be allowed in the premises after 2100 hours unless they're attending a private function, of which they will be leaving before 2400 hours. And that covers our sort of press it if you want.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Okay, do we have any questions from any members of the panel? Chris? Just a quick question from me. We're just conscious, obviously, that there may be some noise with the music, anything. Would it be okay to put some sort of noise monitoring to keep a record of the decibel levels reached? Not one of these systems where it cuts it off or anything, just so you monitor the level and record it in a diary, perhaps, something like that.
I mean, we'd be happy to do that if you see fit. We don't anticipate massive noise, so if that's what you see fit, we're happy to do that.
Thank you very much. No more questions from the panel. Do any of the objectors, Mr. Flynn or Mr. Peel, have any questions?
Yeah. In your application, page 52, the bar is designed to complement...
Can you just bear with me just 1 second? Sorry.
Right.
So who is it speaking first?
Peter Flynn.
Mr. Flynn. So if you've got any questions directly to the applicants, then please, thank you.
Yeah, application page 52. The bar is designed to complement the golf and social activities rather than operating as a standalone drinking establishment. Yet at weekends, the bar will be open from 9 in the morning, serving alcohol till 1:30, with music playing till 2 o'clock. Wouldn't you agree that at the weekends it's going to switch tack from being a golf venue in the evenings? It's going to be more like the other bars on the Chapel Brow, which is designed to serve alcohol to non-players, more of a watering hole, in addition to the other 4 that are currently operating. Would you agree to that?
I see where you're coming from it. I'd agree to a certain extent, but actually the main focus would be still the golf. And if there's a group of 4 people on a simulator, for example, if they want a pint or something each while they're on the simulator for 2 hours, that's why the bar is open. There's no other way to describe what we're trying to achieve there. Really, it's just if you're on the simulators at 10 in the morning, you're with your friends, and you might want a drink, then you can have a drink at 10 in the morning.
I appreciate that, but I'm just thinking reality. There won't be people playing golf at, say, 1 in the morning, will they? They'll be drinking.
Later on in the evening, to be fair, going off other venues across the country that are similar to ours, they generally see a lot of golf till they actually close. Generally, it comes with package deals that they can offer with food and drink. But there is an element where people may come in just to have a drink at the bar potentially, but the main focus would still be golf. And the reasoning for say the 0500 opening times and the late closing times is to accommodate for shift workers. We've all experienced working on shifts and not being able to actually utilise sporting equipment and go out and do that sort of thing. Whereas that's what we're trying to achieve with this, with our hours, is so that everyone can come in whether you work on shifts or not.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So we can now take the one more question, sorry.
Yeah, it's just a couple. Take reasonable steps to manage noise and avoid public nuisance and keeping all entertainment indoors and monitoring noise levels. How are you going to keep all the noise indoors?
So we don't anticipate much noise to leak out, to be honest with you. The actual golf simulators are insulated themselves, so there'll be no noise from the physical golf element. The actual bays are padded with sound-absorbing padding. The bays are built like a stud wall construction with insulation wool in between the panels. As for the clubhouse area downstairs, we don't intend to be having loud music banging every hour of the day or anything like that. It's more of a casual place where people who are relaxing after playing golf or during golf or anything like that can have a drink. It's not a loud club style.
But you will agree there'll be music playing at 2 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning.
If it's granted, but there should be no sound leakage.
As the doors open, there'll be sound
apart from
leakage.
egress and ingress, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's no windows that open in the property, so there'd be no sound leakage from the windows.
Okay, yeah. Finally, the other thing I'd like to ask is, you say we will maintain lines of communication with local residents. You haven't to date, have you?
So we've spoken to Tom on numerous occasions when he's popped in when we've been covering our renovations. The outcome of this meeting would be then what we'd be determining as the steps forward to keep engaged with local communities, really. The anticipation was to send out some letters that are unaddressed and just posted to the local residents, just to say, if you've got any problems or concerns, come and speak to us, or we'll pass you our contact details, our personal details. And then if you've got a problem, you can raise it with us directly.
That never happened though, did it?
No, that's after this meeting, sorry.
Right.
So we're waiting to determine what is granted licence-wise, and then we'll do that afterwards.
Okay, thank you, everybody. So can I please ask the objectors to put forward their representations? If you've got anything you'd like to say, can we start with Mr. Flynn, if that's okay?
Good afternoon all. My name's Peter Flynn. I'm a resident of Fleetwood Street and I'm objecting to the licence application. Chapel Brow certainly has changed during the 28 years I've lived in my home. Chapel now has been transformed predominantly into a collection of fast food outlets and bars which are all open until the early hours. Little if any consideration has ever been given to the impact this has had on the local residents. There are currently 4 licensed establishments on Chapel Brow. This figure includes the Queen's Public House, which is a beer garden and smoking area on Chapel Brow. The bars are all licensed until the early morning when the revellers exit the bars, usually under the influence of alcohol. The premises in question is in very close proximity to the residential streets, including Fleetwood Street, Orchard Street and Chapel Brow, which together contain 30 homes housing approximately 50 residents, all within 25 metres of the proposed venue, some, like in the case of Mr Peel, less than 10 metres away. The proposed operating hours serving alcohol from 9 o'clock until the early hours and playing music until 2 o'clock in the morning pose a significant risk of disturbance to local residents who live in the nearby residential properties. There also would be associated external activity with a risk of an adverse impact to neighbouring amenity, with noise, for example, from the comings and goings of people until late at night and early mornings, people possibly congregating and smoking outside, groups waiting for taxis outside the property, possibly under the influence of alcohol, thereby affecting the rights of people living nearby to a peaceful night. I note there's no provision for a dedicated smoking area. To that end, it is reasonable to expect smokers will exit the building, congregate on Chapel Brow and become another source of noise to neighbouring properties late at night. The provision of a dispersal policy by the applicant will be impossible to police once the customers have exited the building and onto Chapel Brow in the early hours. If the licence is granted, there should be a mandatory stipulation that 2 supervising staff should be in attendance on Friday and Saturday nights to police the points I've raised today and in my original submission. I would also suggest that they would be on duty from 8 o'clock and not 10 o'clock as the applicant has proposed on page 77 of the supplementary document. Having finally had the opportunity to study the plans, I noted there is no provision of a sound lock, which is essentially a noise-controlled vestibule or lobby, a double-door system designed to prevent sound escaping from a building, spilling into the street and disturbing neighbourhood properties. I'm sure the applicant would want to fully support the addition of this feature to prevent the disturbance to neighbouring properties, as is stated in his application, page 67, on public nuisance. All entertainment, including music and interactive games, will be contained within the fully enclosed premises to prevent noise leakage. However, the cumulative impact of another licensed premises with extended hours on Chapel Brow in very close proximity to residential properties would likely intensify existing issues and undermine community safety and cohesion. I do believe, by reason of the proposed increase to the opening hours and external activity associated with the proposed use, would be detrimental to the amenity of the neighbouring residential properties and to the character of the area, contrary to Policy 17 of the Central Lancashire Core Strategy. These, in fact, are not my words, but of a senior officer of South Ribble Borough Council, Elizabeth Thornber, who rejected a similar venue by the applicant in April 2025 for those very reasons. To that end, I would ask the subcommittee to support my objections and refuse a grant of an alcohol licence. I'll just leave you with one thought. Would you want a similar licensed property within 10 metres of your home? And there's a bit of Latin here, hominis ante lucrum, people before profit.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
I rest my...
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Peel, I believe you have some representations to make.
Yes, is it necessary for me to read out my original submission?
We all have copies of it. If you want to quote from it, it's entirely up to you. You have about 5 minutes, so...
All right, I'll quote from it then, and then I might have a few words afterwards.
Sure.
My home is directly opposite the proposed premises, Jack knows about it, just under 50 feet from my bedroom window. I'm deeply concerned that permitting live or recorded music until 2 a.m, which would be easily exceeded, would cause significant disruption to my ability to sleep, relax and enjoy my home environment. It is 50 feet, I've measured it. It's less than 17 yards, or perhaps 19 or 20 comfortable paces, and I've paced it out. In my original submission, I put a Google map showing that it is 50 feet, directly opposite it. It's not a hypothetical concern. I already experienced some disturbance, sometimes quite a lot of disturbance, from existing licensed premises in the area. And the introduction of another venue with extended music hours would compound the problem. The impact includes sleep deprivation, particularly on weekends, affecting health, and well-being, interference with relaxation, including difficulty perhaps hearing television or radio due to external noise. Also disruption of social time where conversation and personal activities are undermined by intrusive sound. I submit this representation not only as the resident directly affected by the proposed licence, but also in defence of a broader principle, the right to unconditional domestic peace. This is the expectation that one's home should be a place of rest, reflection and undisturbed enjoyment, regardless of the proximity to commercial activity. I believe it's rooted in legal precedent, quiet enjoyment, statutory nuisance and moral clarity. When music continues until 2 a.m, just 20 paces or less from a bedroom window, it inverts the burden, forcing residents to adapt to disruption rather than requiring businesses to respect domestic boundaries. I also invoke Article 8 of the Human Rights Act, which protects my right to respect for private and family life and peaceful enjoyment of my home. I'll note that Article 8 isn't absolute, but public authorities must not interfere with it unless they have the lawful ability to do so. It's necessary in a democratic society, or it serves a legitimate aim such as public safety or economic well-being of the public as a whole. I urge the licensing panel to consider the proximity of residential properties and uphold this principle by refusing the licence, or at the very least imposing conditions that prevent public nuisance and protect the sanctity of residential life. These might include a curfew of midnight in line with common practice in residential zones, soundproofing requirements and use of sound limiters, and no outdoor speakers or open windows or doors. I did go on to mention public safety, but I see no reason to go into that now. A simple reminder that it's my sincere belief, firmly held belief, that no one here would permit a licence of this kind just 15 yards from their own front door or their own bedroom window. I ask you, I might even beg you, that you do not approve this licence 15 yards from mine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peel. You just bear with me 1 second. Okay, thank you everyone. So, do we have any questions from the panel for the objectors? No, no. Does the applicant have any questions for the objectors?
Not necessarily a question, but I've got some answers to what's been raised, if that helps.
Well, you brought me on to my next question. Do you want to respond to any of the changes? And then I have some questions to ask.
Yeah, no problem. Right, it's going to be in a bit of a sporadic order, so I'm just going to try and address your concerns first and then go on. So there was mention of the previous refusal on the planning application for Bamber Bridge. Exactly my next statement. I'll not mention that again then. You mentioned something about profit before anything. I didn't get the last bit of the wording. We've spent thousands of pounds to make this accessible to everyone. So if you're in a wheelchair, you'll be able to access the premises. You'll be able to play golf on the simulator that's downstairs. We've installed or are installing an accessible toilet. This isn't a profit before anything thing for us. We're investing our life savings effectively into this to try and bring community to this place. You mentioned about door supervision and what we're stating for the times for the door supervisors. That's been provided by the police, and that's what we've said we're happy with. They suggested the timings that are on that sheet, not ourselves. To assist in disorder and noise outside when people are leaving, we will have leave quietly signs and things like that, and there will be those door supervisor staff on to assist in keeping people quiet. As for a smoking area, I admit I forgot to put it on the application. That'll be down the side of the building, which is monitored by the CCTV that we mentioned earlier. And then moving on, we understand the concerns from Tom across the road. We don't think there'll be an impact here, even though you are that close. We really don't think we're going to have an impact, and we don't expect any noise leakage. that's the question I meant to ask, sorry. Have you heard any noise in the past 2 weeks or so from us from doing the renovations?
From you, but you mentioned earlier about noise pollution from the music tuition in Rimmers. I do hear the drums. I do hear the drums, whether I've got the television and radio on or not. But it's almost over by about 8:30 or 9 o'clock. It's never late. Yeah,
I think when we've been in there working, I think we've heard it till 10 on a few nights, but that's it. But here and there for that. We don't anticipate to be leaking any noise to that level whatsoever. If that puts anything to rest for you. As for the question about have you heard any of the renovations, we've been working till 11 o'clock some nights with saws, drills, all on the ground floor and the first floor, and we've not had any complaints and heard no noise from outside when we go out. So it's just to reinforce that inherently this building is quite soundproof as is, and it's an old structure. I think that's from me. One that Tim's just suggested, sorry, in terms of speakers and things like that, we're more than happy to make sure that they're directed towards the back of the venue, so the sound travels that direction as well, just to help encourage that sound leakage. But I think that's it from me, thank you.
Excellent, thank you very much. I just have quick questions, hopefully Chris can answer these for me. There was a few objections that I felt fell under the auspices of planning, not licensing, if you can confirm that any of them do.
With the comments, sorry.
Yeah.
Chair.
Yeah, sorry.
So anything to do with the actual building being there, or anything to do with actual parking, highways, that's all irrelevant really to licensing. Other than the actual licensable activities taking place, that's what we're here for today.
I can maybe answer that question.
I'll get you a chance in a second, Mr.
planning.
Peel. You've got a chance to speak in just a second. Excellent. So, we've come to the point now, so I can ask the objectors if they want to sum up what they've had to say so far. So, Mr. Flynn, if you'd like to go first.
I never did a summary, to be quite honest. But
oh, right, well, your chance to say.
I didn't know there was going to be a summary, but yeah, I think you've all heard my points. My concern is the impact it has on the people, the local people, and I know we might be able to contain the noise, but when people come out at 2 o'clock in the morning in their cups, so to speak, invariably there is a lot of noise and, shall we say, bad social behaviour, and that does impact on the local residents. And when I use the old Latin term profit over people, what I was trying to say is I appreciate you trying to run a successful business, but it will have an impact on the local residents, and that's why I use that term. I think it would be greatly helped if you did put what they call it, a sound, I've got the word here, was it a sound, a door system, which basically it'd be a sound lock, would greatly help in keeping the noise down. As for the things with signage, with the best will in the world, you can put as many signs up as you want. And unfortunately, when somebody is under the influence of alcohol, that's the last thing he's looking at. And the reason I asked for the doorman to be extended till, say, 8 o'clock, as opposed to 10 o'clock, is if you've been drinking from 9 o'clock in the morning and you've got drunks, the only way you're going to control them is by the use of what we call them security staff. And I hope the board will take into the points that I've raised and come up with a solution that suits me entirely. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Flynn. Mr. Peel, would you like to say anything in summing up?
Well, I'd come with a summary, and I discovered how to read the actual objections. So I don't really have a summary. Like the three gentlemen who are here today, I'm an armed forces veteran. I'm 80 years old. I bought my house and paid for it and worked for it in the expectation that I would spend my final years in peace and tranquility. And I'd like to see this continue.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Peel. Need the microphone for that. I now invite the applicant to sum up.
Yeah, thank you. yeah, we are, as you said, Tom, veterans just trying to create a community. All we can say on the sound outside from people congregating and things is the door supervisors are there to monitor that, as well as the posters. And for the you mentioned about people drinking from 0900 till close, for example. It'd be on the bar staff for them to determine if people are under the influence of alcohol and to stop serving people when they're at that point, or before that point even, sorry. But we are primarily a golf lab venue with some hospitality designed to complement the sporting focus. We're committed to operating in full accordance with the licensing requirements and maintaining that safe and compliant environment for patrons, and working constructively with local neighbours and the authorities. By combining the advanced indoor golf facilities with carefully managed social amenities, we aim to enrich the local leisure landscape while ensuring that its operation does not cause a disturbance or distract from the community well-being. Just like to thank everyone for the opportunity to present our case and for considering our application.
Thank you very much. So just ask our legal representative, Sushma, if there's any other matters to be raised or resolved before we close.
No, Chair.
Thank you. So a decisional notice will be provided to all interested parties within 5 working days. Any party who is aggrieved by the panel's decision has the right to appeal to the Magistrates' Court within 21 days. The hearing is now finished, so could I please ask our licensing managers, applicants and licence holders to leave the room while we make our deliberations. I'd like to thank everybody very much for attending. Yeah, and wish everybody a Merry Christmas.